Hello, my name is Mamiya Sayokran, and I will be talking to you guys today about some presentation, design, and delivery techniques that I feel will work best for you. Now I know getting up in front of a group of people is not the easiest thing in the world, but hopefully these practices can help to ease your mind. When deciding on a theme, you want to keep it simple and avoid using any distracting colors. And also, you should have a white or light colored background. Next, you should really try to limit the variety of fonts that you use when doing this presentation. You also want to make it legible. You don't want the font to be distracting to the audience. You want to help them focus on your presentation. The recommended font that I feel you should use, and is recommended by many people, is Serif Sans. And lastly, you don't want to type in all caps. It's very distracting. Putting too much info into one slide can be very distracting. The audience is supposed to learn about what you're talking about. The audience also needs to understand the things you are saying while viewing the slide. If they're busy reading what's on the slide, they're not going to be listening to your presentation. Too many colors can be very distracting. You should also try to keep your colors simple and colors of the same color scheme. You don't want the color to be what the audience is focusing on. They should be focusing on the information that you are presenting to them. Your presentation is supposed to and should be helpful. You want to inform the audience of the topic of the issue. You don't want them to feel, I learned nothing from this presentation. I could have did my own research. You should use professional images while doing a PowerPoint presentation and not overrated clip art. You want the audience to be intrigued by your pictures. You want your pictures to stand out, and you want your pictures to tell a story. You should not be reading from slides verbatim, because honestly, it looks like you don't know what you're talking about if you constantly have to look at the board. Also, the images on your slides should communicate the meaning of the slides. The slides are meant to be backup of what you are presenting. They should have a clear and meaningful message. You don't want the audience to be confused on what you are trying to communicate to them. Now this perhaps can be the most important yet scariest part of the presentation. Most of the time, people are focused too much on the info and not enough on the delivery of their PowerPoint. Now, I will share a few suggestions that may help tackle some of those nerves. This is perhaps very important. Make eye contact with the audience. It's just something natural that the audience expects you to do, and after doing it so many times, it will come natural to you. You don't want to overlook your audience, because ultimately, they're the most important. Interact. Go around the room, ask questions, walk around. It makes it more of a hands-on presentation, so then folks in the audience won't feel as if they're sitting through a lecture. This should be fun, interesting. Oh, practice, practice, practice. This is the most important thing you should do. Practicing what you're going to say before the audience, before the actual day. Practicing gives you a chance to see how it is going to be for real. It's also a good idea to practice in a small group of friends so it will be easier on the actual day. You should typically spend about 30 seconds to a minute per slide. And during your presentation, you may need to adjust your pace because the audience may have questions, so you may need to clarify whatever they need. You should always make sure that your voice can reach to the farthest person in the room. It may seem like you're yelling at your audience, but what you're doing is projecting. This is something the audience would appreciate because they would like to hear the presentation. When presenting your project to an audience, you want to present the issue like a story. This will keep your audience interested and engaged, and it will keep it fun. Now, hopefully, all these tips will ease your mind about presenting, and I hope you guys learned something.